Dan, what kind of speed bumps is Musk hitting right now?
All right. He's actually hitting a couple. Again, this is why there were so many opportunities from last night that Democrats could be talking about. I think one, the element of surprise that they're kind of launching is starting to bite. Like more and more Republicans are saying, like, we have no heads up. I'm getting phone calls. We don't know how to respond. We don't even know who to call. I think some of the chaotic and reckless nature of the acts are also just starting to, like, again, common sense is hitting people. Like, this doesn't seem right. And I think, the government is not the private sector. When he did this at Twitter, they could kind of, come down. They lost, business, but they had enough to kind of keep going to try to rebuild. Government provides services day in and day out. Like, members of Congress don't have that luxury of, like, we're going to kind of perform really poorly for, a year or two and then get it right. So I think it's beginning to kind of have a shelf life. And I will be curious to see how the administration quietly deals with this, because they're never going to publicly announce like he's out. But I would imagine changes are coming.
Sean.
So one more prop, and then I'll answer the Musk question. I thought the way that Speaker Johnson, you could tell he was ready to go last night. They had thought through everything, and I actually thought Speaker Johnson handled all of that extremely well, because I think that can be very disconcerting for a guy sitting behind the rostrum, especially sitting behind Donald Trump. Figured out how to handle that. So kudos to how Speaker Johnson handled himself last night and was ready to go. On the Musk thing, I disagree. I think that members, by and large, in the movement is so excited about what Elon is doing that he's got so much latitude to affect change. And until the base doesn't like it, which they won't, because which they will forever, because this is such this is like at the core, smaller, more efficient, effective government. Every conservative is on board with that. And I think that what he is doing, how President Trump called it out last night, was so beautiful. And so I think that you're going to see, I think Elon's relishing in it. I think President Trump loves it. They really think they're going to get massive savings out of this. So, and Dan, you brought this up a while ago, well, wait till they go after the Department of Defense. They were there yesterday. Like, they're at DOD, man. And so nothing's sacred. And I think that's what's happening right now, and everybody's applauding it.
Well, the only thing, though, is, Sean, everyone is applauding it publicly on your side because they have to, for every reason you just said. But it's my understanding, even from talking to Democrats, talking to Republicans, in private, the temperature is going up a little bit. Sorry.
No, I'm saying you're on the nose.
Sorry. I thought you were telling me, like, stop.
No.
Yeah, that like.
I thought he had something on it.
No. You're correct.
Yeah, too much coffee or alcohol.
You're headed right to the truth. Keep going.
Yeah. So I do think, like, that's the rub. Is in private, they're getting more and more frustrated. The polling is kind of, people are in.
We'll hear about that today, though.
What?
When he has that meeting, we'll hear how like, because they'll leak out that it was either really respectful or it got contentious, but we'll find out. I think that's going to
I think they're gonna say the right things, because, as you said, the base loves it. But, like, if you look at polling, what's really popular is cutting government spending. But then when you get into every other kind of metric of it, it's getting less and less and less popular. And so I just think in private, they're going to try to probably solve this problem, and some things will change, but they won't give Democrats that, like, benefit.
But I look at this very akin to, like, the BRAC movement, which is, we need to reduce the size of but not my military base. And at the end of the day, everyone's on board. You have to posture to protect things in your district. I get that, it's natural, but this is such a great win for the movement that I don't think they have to do certain things as members of Congress they're parochial in protecting their interests. But at the end of the day, I don't see anybody losing because of this.